sauce. Spill that drip, I wipe it off. $1 million worth of game. Can't feel that I work too hard. Poetry on any.
What's good? What's good? What's good? It's your boy, Dope Boy Diesel, back in the motherfucking Doja room. We are here for day 10, and we're here for day 11. In the Diddy trial, we're gonna just get this started, popping off, and making sure that we on all the platforms that we need to be on. Okay, we're looking good. Looking good on X. Looking good on Rumble. Let me see where we at with it. Let's just check Rumble real quick. Make sure we firing off over here. Make sure we good. Yeah, why the fuck did I sign out of Rumble? Okay. Okay, make sure we firing off. Okay. All right. It looks like we are on everything. All right. Yeah. We set. I'm here a little bit later than usual. You guys know I usually start the show in the AM. Usually, but I got the day off, obviously, so I figured I might as well take my time. Had a couple of things to do throughout the day, so I went ahead and just pushed the show back a tad bit to see what would happen if we can just get a nice full day of trial out in one stream. So I mean, court is pretty much wrapped up. Well, it's definitely wrapped up about an hour ago. So we'll be wrapping up on where we left off yesterday with day 10 and coming back all the way to today, which is day 11, and we'll be getting to what happened today. So I was napping. I'm pretty fresh on the details of well, I've been absent. I mean, from the details of day 11. So I'm fresh. I don't know what's going on yet. You know, I had to take a little nap. I had to get one in just cause I've been a little sleep deprived for a couple of days. It hasn't been happening. So I had to take some point of time. But I appreciate you guys. Everything is all the same. I appreciate you guys for rocking with us. To all my stoners, hippies, and hip hop enthusiasts, thank you for stepping into the Doja room once again. I am so excited to get another stream in with you guys. I just want to make sure everything is firing on all cylinders, because yesterday, for whatever reason, yesterday we lost our X streams, and I know a big majority of our listeners and people coming through come through on X. Okay, it's a good 100 of you who tune in every time we go live on X, and I appreciate you guys for that. But if anything ever goes wrong with the stream, I think this is the perfect time for you guys to go ahead and subscribe on other platforms, okay? Just in case the stream goes down on X, go ahead and hop into Firstborn Media on YouTube, where we're also streaming. You can see us on Rumble. If you're on Rumble, just type in the Doja Room and you'll see us pop up on Rumble and Twitch, okay? The Doja Room on Twitch. If you see this stream go down, you can just hop in with us on one of those other streams, okay? It doesn't usually happen, but you know, just as a precaution, you guys can still rock with us, all right? So I appreciate you guys for stopping through. Again, to all my stoners, hippies, and hip-hop enthusiasts, welcome to the Doja Room. I have a few topics for you guys before we get into the Diddy stuff, of course, and some breaking news. So I really want to get to that because I think it's earth-shattering. It's crazy. So yeah, we'll get through a couple of those, and then we'll get to the Diddy and continue the Diddy trial stuff. I'll try to get through that stuff and catch us up on today as fast as possible. Okay. So real quick, I want to start. I want to start small and build us up to the big stuff. Okay. So I want to start. With some Lakers basketball. I want to start us off with some Lakers basketball. Uh, Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves is rumored. Now I don't know how true this is, but it says Austin Reeves is rumored to be, vying for the free agency market. Okay, so it might be a high possibility that we see Austin Reeves, as the report that I seen it, at least, because it seems that I can't exactly see it here, or maybe I have it in my bookmarks. But as a report that I read here, here it goes right here. Let me just share my screen again, because I thought this was pretty interesting, but it might contribute to the talks that that we're hearing about Austin Reeves and him being on the trading block now. Like I told you guys, Austin might have played himself straight into trade talks. You know what I'm saying? You can't have a great season and then when it's time for lights, camera, action, when it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for, you disappear. We can't have that. We can't have that. And as much as I love Austin Reeves, play like that will get you tossed. Play like that will get you tossed. You can't play like that. You can't play like that in the playoffs, and you play for the Lakers. It's just it doesn't mix. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't mix. We got to roll the Doja. We got to roll the Doja. Yes, sir. Let me get right. We got to roll the Doja, okay? I hope y'all know what it is when y'all come in here. I want to know, do y'all really be rolling up when y'all come into the Doja room? Because I'm going to have to start kicking you niggas the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to have to start kicking you niggas the fuck out. I hope you niggas is rolling up when y'all come in here. Okay? I hope y'all niggas is rolling up something nice. I ain't going to hold you. This is my go-to grind. This been my little baby for a minute. You know what I'm saying? My little geisha on there. But yeah, as far as the Lakers go, I want to see us, trade Austin, perhaps for somebody who is gonna hold down that paint, perhaps for a real good big man who's going to do what we need, and fill the gaps that we need. And as much as we love Austin, with us having Luka Doncic, it makes it a little bit, I don't know. It makes it a little bit better, but then again, I feel like Austin is a big factor in, he's a big factor in how much LeBron has to play, especially during the regular season. Now don't get me wrong, I don't want to trade Austin Reeves, but I at this point I can't be mad. At this point I can't be mad. You know what I'm saying? Because you've been untradeable your entire stint as a Laker. You've been untouchable, and now it's time to light that fire under his ass, and start getting him on point. You know what I'm saying? And did y'all see Luka, by the way, too? Luka is slimming down. Luka is looking like a whole new nigga. I'm not going. Luka's damn near looking like. Luka is looking like when he first came to the league. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. And I almost don't remember. Luka being this fucking small, but Luka is putting in work. I mean, boy, get in there. Like, he really slimming down. Like, he really getting there. Like, so I want to see Luka at his best, and he's in the prime of his life. He has to be at his best. He has to be putting forth his best effort. You know what I'm saying? So I think with Austin Reeves possibly being traded, with us having Luka Doncic, it may not be that bad. It may not be that bad. Okay, so we're just gonna have to wait and see. It's officially the off season for us, so we're gonna have to wait and see. Knicks lost last night. I hate to say that the Knicks lost last night, so we're not gonna probably see the Knicks in the finals, which is what I would have loved to see. As a native New Yorker, I would love to see that. Knicks is my second team, of course, so I gotta, it usually switches between Knicks in Brooklyn, whoever's doing better that year. But we Lakers all day, so we don't care too much. But I would have loved to see the Knicks in the finals and possibly win a championship. That would have been awesome. So, and I would, oh my God, if Knicks would win a championship, I'm going back home. I'm going back home for a week. We turning up, yeah. I'm copping a Knicks jersey. Yeah, we doing all. I'm copping a Brunson jersey and all of that. So yeah, hopefully with this off season we see some productive things happening, and we can move on from there. But hopefully some good things happen this off season. That's all. I'm just gonna keep my fingers crossed that that's what we get. So moving on to the next topic, let's get to another big one for today. Another big one. So apparently today we got the footage, the footage of Tory Lanez being stabbed, and we're gonna air it right here in the Doja Room. I'm not gonna lie to you, it is a little bit hard to watch if you haven't been around shit like this. If you not, if you're not from the streets, if you not around street niggas, if you've never, what I'm saying, if you're a little squirmish, viewer discretion is advised. I'm gonna tell you right now, okay? Viewer discretion is advised. This is one of the more clearer videos that I seen. I only seen the shit one time, and I had to watch it because I was just like, there ain't no fucking way they got the footage. You know what I'm saying? And with so many people being pardoned today. By the way, Larry Hoover was pardoned today. Well, no, he wasn't pardoned. He had his sentence commuted. He had his sentence commuted by Donald Trump, and we'll get to Larry Hoover. But with Larry Hoover and so many people being pardoned today, I kind of thought that it was a good possibility that we would see Tory Lanez also get pardoned, but apparently he wasn't in this rotation of niggas getting pardoned. So we gotta continue to advocate and try to get man's out of there doing time for something that he didn't do. But this is brutal. So let me share this tab because this is a little brutal. So we have photos and video of this taking place. Now, like I said, this is a little bit more of a clearer video, in my opinion, from what I've seen. So let's get into this and watch this real quick. Yeah, he was gone. Yeah, so okay, so it would seem like I don't know if this is. Let me see real quick. I don't know if this is Tory or if this. So you see, there's a guy standing right there, and he turns. There's somebody standing right here under this little reflector light. Okay, and he turns, and it looks like he goes towards. I'm guessing this is, somewhere in this direction is Tory's room. So he goes. You see him. He turns here, and immediately, and this is what makes me think that Tory was definitely he was caught off guard and shit like that. And I don't know if that's Tory, or I don't know if this is homie sitting right there in the cut, like sort of waiting him out. So let's play that again. But just watch that little part right there. see somebody step and he's sitting right there and he kind of stops. This should be acting up sometimes with this fucking, okay. So he's sitting right there. Somebody comes out and it's immediate fighting. It's immediate. It's immediate. You feel me? So you kind of peep it. It's somebody wait. He's waiting. Now I don't know. Let me play this again. Let me see who comes out, because Tory looks like he's in the all white. It looks like he's in the gray pants. Okay. So it looks like maybe Tory is the dude standing right here, and he comes out of this. He's the one who comes out because he looks like he has the darker gray pants on. And it's crazy. You see homie walking up with his plate, his food and shit. He just walks right past. So that makes you wonder, like, okay, I'm trying to figure out what kind of clout, like, what kind of niggas is really running with Tory in here. Like, you feel me? Because homie right here seen this whole shit going down. He just, bro, he's just casually bro, he don't give two shits. He don't give two fucks. I think he even take a little swig of his drink. You see, nobody's rushing to Tory's aid. Nothing. There's nobody's. It's you can barely hear what Tory is saying, but you know what I'm saying. But and he stabbed. He's going in, and it says 14 times, but it seems like it was just 14 times that it actually connected. You know what I'm saying? But a homie was going in. He was definitely going in. Like, it was a brutal attack. And you can only imagine looking at this footage as somebody in Tory's family. You know what I'm saying? This is crazy. And already, you know what I'm saying? The jokes, like I said, from the usual suspects, you see them. You know what I'm saying? You see him. Niggas over here talking about all he had to do is take the plea deal. Look at these comments. Look at these comments. You know what I'm saying? Look, niggas saying how he walked around but had 2 collapsed lungs. I still don't think he got stabbed. I don't even see a knife. They bitches got jokes. Bitches got jokes. You know what I'm saying? And this is why, like, this is what, like, when it comes to black women and shit like that, the type of black women who sit there and make comments like this, and y'all just like, y'all treat everybody like they're fucking Hitler. And I'm fucking tired of it, nigga. You niggas do. Everybody gets treated like they are fucking Hitler, the worst of the worst. Niggas, like, half of these bitches got uncles and daddies who was beating the shit out they moms, really beating the shit out they moms, slapping they moms, doing whatever the fuck in they household, and these niggas is taking out they fucking trauma on you. They taking their trauma out on the internet. They saying all of this bullshit because you bitches is traumatized and came from bullshit, came from trash people, came from broken homes, came from gutter snipes, thotties, Trishas. Like, at the end of the day, like, what are you niggas riding this hard for about some shit that you don't even have all the full facts about? A bitch who won't even tell you bitches the full facts of what happened to her. Look how you bitches is riding. Like, these are the usual suspects who sit here and they kiki and they laugh about shit like this. You know, they kiki and they laugh about shit like this. You know what I'm saying? But when niggas start talking about a certain type of fatigue, it's coming from you niggas. It's coming from you. It's coming from this community right here. It's coming from the K bots and the bitches. Yeah, these are the same people. This is a lot of the same people. So my whole thing is, it's like, what do you bitches gain? I don't understand. I wouldn't even wish this shit on Megan Thee Stallion had the roles been reversed and she would have been in prison. I'd have been saying the same thing. Yo, this shit don't make no sense. Had the roles been reversed, I'd have been saying the same thing. Yo, there's too many questions around this shit. I can't really just condemn her. I can't really just tell her to go to hell. I don't know what happened. You know what I'm saying? If the roles was reversed, I would still be saying the same shit. G shit. But it, like, shit like this, it just is just disgusting, bro. It's just disgusting to see how people get down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Here are some of the photos, and more accurately, you can see Tori's whole face. I don't want to show too much of it, but you know what I'm saying? The photos say it all, and don't forget, like the tweet says, don't forget that these fans of Megan Thee Stallion were donating to homie. Now, if you don't know Santino Casio, this is a man who's in jail for killing his 13-year-old girlfriend. Oh yeah, he was in there. Yeah, he was knocking that loose. Yeah, that's what he was doing. This is what y'all donating to. A nigga who was knocking down a 13-year-old girl. This is what y'all bitches is donating to. Disgusting. You're hypocrites in every aspects of life. I don't even respect the motherfucker who feel like, look, one thing about me, I'm gonna tell you, like, I'm a type of nigga, I'm gonna take shit low. I'm gonna take shit to the ground, nigga. Take shit to hell. You feel me? I'm not about to sit here and play moral police for motherfuckers. Like, I just call shit how I see it. But these bitches be trying to play all of this moral high ground. Oh, I love God, and oh, I need a God-fearing man, and all of this bullshit. But this is these are the same bitches saying this shit. These habitually single, got 2 dogs, no man, got 9 cats, no man. Yeah, we talking about these bitches, miserable ass bitches, bro. It don't make no sense. It doesn't make no sense that this is how you bitches get down. This is how you give it up. That you're this miserable. That you look at footage like this and you're clapping, you cheering, you smiling along. You're sick people. You are sick motherfuckers. Y'all some sick, lonely motherfuckers. What y'all bitches need to do is collect all those funds, all those degrees. I got all those degrees. Y'all should be making a good amount of money. Buy an island. Buy an island. And you bitches just go to that island where there ain't no niggas. Make Themyscira, nigga. Make the new Themyscira. Make Amazonia, whatever the fuck you call it. Make Amazon, nigga. Make an island of just bitches. You bitches stay there where you don't got to deal with no nigga. Get off of our internet. Mind you, to do this so you can live in peace, first, one stipulation. Get the fuck off our internet. And keep all of that shit on your island, and you bitches die off. Okay? There won't be no men to impregnate you. Perfect. You bitches die the fuck off. Okay? One by fucking one. One generation, you're gone. You're fucking gone, nigga. Alright? We'll never fucking hear from you again. We'll never fucking hear from you again. Please, do us the favor. Because you bitches hate niggas anyway. You want us to be a board. I mean, I don't get it. Show us better than you can tell us. Get together collectively. Instead of putting your money together to get a man free or to support a man who killed his 13-year-old girlfriend, instead of putting money there, put money and invest in one big ass plot in Africa, on one big ass island near Hawaii or some shit, and just get the fuck on. Just get the fuck on. Live your wildest dreams. Build the world that you niggas think you can create, and leave all of us the fuck alone. That's all. That's what y'all can do. Okay, you bitches are sick. There's something seriously wrong with these motherfuckers. Okay, nah, for real though, for real. So It says this shit is look, brave young hero. Let's find his JPay in prison info and send him money. Start a GoFundMe. Free him. They screaming free him. All right, hotties. Look, all right, hotties. Get those coins ready. Get those coins ready. You hear them, right? All right, hotties. Get those coins ready. Get those coins ready, hotties.
Bruh.
He shouldn't have to worry about his next meal for a long time.
Are you dumb, stupid, or dumb? Huh? Are you dumb,
Yeah,
stupid, or dumb? Huh? Play me like a
yeah, yeah. That's what they doing. That's what they doing. That's what Megan Thee Stallion fans is doing. That shit. That's probably what Megan Thee Stallion. I wouldn't be surprised if Meg ain't. You know what I'm saying? If she ain't shell out a couple $1,000s. And to know you're lying, I'm glad that they released this footage because it's gonna put people in an uproar. I seen niggas making spaces and shit this morning. I didn't know why. I was busy, like I said. But I'm glad they released this footage in its entirety. It's not being hidden, and they're showing niggas what actually happened to this man because it's really ridiculous. This shit is really ridiculous that he's even still in prison. So I hope Congresswoman Luna, I hope everybody who's on his case, his father is out there still doing what they need to do to get Tory free. All right, because this is ridiculous. Moving on to the next topic, we're gonna try to keep on speed through these. Um, we got the same characters crashing out on India Love and Cooking with Kaya because they made videos, or are not even made videos, but we're streaming and we're just talking about homie's character after being asked about him on stream, and they gave some words of kindness. So let's just go ahead and listen to
So
what she has
fuck,
to say
like
real quick.
when you got genuine people in your corner and
Twitter with these fucking, let's get it.
when you got genuine people in your corner and a genuine person like Moo who genuinely is like a great guy who doesn't have no expectations other than wanting to see another person win and do good and be respectful and every great attribute and characteristic in a person, he shows that in every way to me. So I don't give a rat's ass who, what, when, where, why, and how. Like I'm very much team Moo. I'm very much team like you gotta like do for those and pour into those who pour into you, and it you gotta like really pay attention to people's character these days. Like behind the scenes type of character, when nobody's watching type of character, and I feel like he gives and how
So she gave her 2 cents on DDG's character. Just spoke up to him. Wasn't nothing serious. She wasn't over here sucking a nigga's dick. She was just speaking on how how her experience with the nigga, and you know how good of a person he truly is behind the scenes. You know, there's not too many people who can speak to that. And like as I said, it's the same characters who are upset about Tory Lane still, even though he's in prison serving the 10-year sentence. Uh, it's the same characters who want these bitches to just be silent and continue to paint a narrative about DDG that isn't true. And again, I'm not the biggest DDG fan. I don't watch DDG. I've never watched a DDG stream in my I watched a little bit of Streamers University, so I guess I have at this point. But I'm not a person who is up to DDG or has followed DDG. But I'm just looking at the situation from the outside. It's just I've always sat here and said like, bro, when they finally get something on this nigga, and I'm talking anything, when they finally feel like they got something that they can jack, true or not, like she don't know what she forever put on this man's jacket. Holly don't know what she forever put on this man's jacket. Look how they do Chris Brown. You don't know what they forever put on this man's jacket. Now, Shorty said, I had a nice coworker who was disrespectful to me. However, I later discovered he was incredibly crazy. He stalked his ex-wife, harassed her, beat her, and eventually killed her. I learned this from the news. Men can be very different people. You look and sound dumb, bitch. Like, you sound dumb. This is anybody, motherfucker. This applies to literally everybody. Literally everybody comes and put on a fucking mask at work. Fuck are you talking about? The fuck are you even talking about? You thought you was cooking? Did you think you was really cooking though? They said, okay, did you insult India? Why did you insult India if she supposedly was treated right and confessing the same way you would have described your coworker? She said, I wouldn't have gone online and attempted to influence public opinion about my ex-coworker based solely on how he treated me, especially considering that he was responsible for the death of someone. But you also have more people speaking on how she was beating the shit out of homie. Why are you not speaking on that? Why are you not speaking on that? She's in here arguing with everybody.
The fuck, like when you got.
She's in here arguing with everybody. But she says, in conclusion, stop attempting to sway public opinion about abusers, because in private they are terrifying individuals. Now I know I dropped a comment on here at some point, or I quote tweeted. I quote tweeted the shit or something like that. I think I quote tweeted. No, she said this on this one it says, go heal. The way y'all hate men, I know y'all are traumatized. She said, I don't hate men. I hate men who abuse women. You already determined that the nigga is guilty, and you're like, nah, you do it. Like, who you talking about? I don't hate men. I hate men who abuse women, children, and others. That's your problem. You think when women speak out against bad men, we're talking about all men because on some level, you too fear men as we do. What the fuck are you talking about? You sound stupid as fuck. And I said, no, yes, you do. Because you'd care more about the truth coming out rather than pushing a narrative. And she said, are you going to tell me who I hate? And I said what I said. Ain't no way you're going to believe a nigga is an abuser with the limited information we got from Hallie. You just hate men. So somebody came back in and said the information wasn't from Holly. It was from documents in the courthouse contained by TMZ. Bitch, it's from Holly. I didn't even read this yet. Bitch, it's from Holly. It's from Holly. Holly gave it to the court. The court gave it to TMZ. TMZ gave it to you, dumb bitches. And now you're trying to spin a narrative. The fuck are you not getting? She says the information wasn't from Holly. It was from documents from the courthouse obtained by TMZ. She still hasn't spoken. In the document, she's also providing ring camera evidence that will be shown in court. I'm guessing she meant that people seem to read past or ignore. Somebody says, bitch, you see the evidence though, so shut up. Like, if we looking at the pictures and shit like that, like, where's the video then? Show us the video. The fuck? Show us the video. Shut us up. Show us the video. Don't be out here like, fuck is you talking about? From the evidence that we got and you showing us bruises on your arm, look like a nigga was holding you back from swinging on him. That's not evidence of abuse, nigga. A chipped tooth with no fucking swollen mouth, no bruise, no swollen cheek, no black eye, no nothing. You just got a chipped tooth. Out of nowhere. Then in the shit, you don't even see. She just talks about how she went from buckling the nigga up in the back seat, and she just magically teleports to the front seat, trying to stop DDG from leaving. Because this bitch thinks she's his fucking boss, and you gonna determine when he can and can't have his own fucking son. You gonna determine his emotional state. Bitch, maybe you not emotionally well. Maybe he thought you wasn't emotionally well enough to keep his son. How about that? How about that? Maybe he thought you wasn't emotionally stable at that moment to be able to keep his son and be in a safe environment, because you're obviously fucking crazy. You obviously lose your fucking mind when the goddamn kid is not around. You be on some weird shit. You be on some weird shit, for real. So maybe he was thinking the same fucking thing. Which, if he was, then he has every right to keep his son in the car where he already was and leave this toxic situation with you. That you told on yourself, bitch. You told on yourself. Motherfuckers are sitting here reading a whole report of a bitch buckling a nigga up in the back seat, and then it goes from I'm buckling him up in the back seat to I'm in the front seat getting my head bashed in at a steering wheel. What happened in between? What happened in between there? Where's the initiation? Where's the initiation of this all? Because it sounds like you're trying to leave that point out conveniently. The fuck are we talking about? These bitches be trying. Yeah, look, these bitches be trying it. They be trying it. Okay. They be trying it, but it ain't one of those. It ain't giving one of those. Okay. Let's keep on going down the line. All right. Let's keep on going down the line. We haven't been talking about much Drake in these last couple of weeks, but Drake breaks the record for most RIAA diamond certified by any artist in history within 10. Okay, so Drake is continuing to break more and more records. I think he also is once again the most streamed artist of 2025. I guess I think overall, he's the most streamed artist in 2025. So yeah, he still got foot to neck on these niggas. Niggas ain't do shit. All you did was galvanize his fan base, make niggas stronger, make niggas come out and support him harder. Y'all didn't do shit. Y'all gotta stop it. You didn't do anything to this man. So the niggas who are continuing to go back and forth about this shit, I've been on the Diddy trial shit. I haven't been too much arguing with the K-bots lately, but it's funny to see little shit like this because this is effortless. We also, I believe, we're expecting Drake to drop his next album, which we're anticipating will be called Iceman. Okay, and I think this is a pretty dope subject right here because it says Drake's next album, Iceman, will solidify the fact that he's better than Michael Jackson. And when we say better than Michael Jackson, it's just and this is why I like this comment by the boy Tweezy. Shout out Tweezy Soul. But he says it will, and I don't know why people think it's not it's not conversation wise, stat wise. He said he passed Michael in versatility, okay, and longevity. What Drake has done has never been done before. People just hate, so they don't want to admit the truth. But that completely sums it up right there. And why niggas are saying what they saying, because Drake is an anomaly. You know what I'm saying? This has never been seen before. This has never been done before. And he's truly putting on a display that will be we might not ever even see it duplicated. Like, this is not the NBA. We might not ever see a run like this duplicated, or, you know, it's not even, it won't even be comparable to niggas like Kendrick Lamar when it's all said and done. You know what I'm saying? So Drake is out here competing with the greatest of the greatest of the greatest. You know what I mean? When it comes down to conversations concerning him. So we got to keep that in mind, because I think we truly forget. We truly forget how versatile, where he can go, the type of music that he puts out, and it's all in every genre. He has given us a classic, damn near. In every genre he's tried, at least he's given us a classic. He's given us a classic. So yeah, shout out Drake. We're ready for that. And you know we got little snippets like this, little Easter eggs where it seems like that time is getting closer and closer and closer. So you see Drake has Iceman 2.0 Iceman folder. So what will come out of that? We're just gonna have to wait and see. So I'm really excited about that. All right. So I hope you guys are too. I hope you guys are locked in for that. And we should be getting something pretty soon. We're waiting on an announcement, so it says. So we'll see where that goes. All right. Next is this Boss Man D-Lo shit, and I want to get to this because, and before I even let this rock, in the I seen this going on, floating through X and social media and stuff like that, but I never really took to the topic because it was kind of a nothing burger to me. And a lot of the times, when people put stuff like this out, when they come back to clear it up, or when they come back to apologize or vindicate you, you know what I'm saying, like almost like what we're probably going to see with this Tory Lanez case. But when you're accused of something, the apology is never as loud as the accusation. So in this case, in the Doja room, we didn't even cover that shit because it just sounded like some bullshit. Now, I'm not the biggest Boss Man D-Lo fan, but I could look at this shit and it was open to close case to me. So apparently, if you guys don't already know, there were accusations or there were rumors swirling around that Boss Man D-Lo was low key on the low, on the low, and he was a cross dresser who was really gay. The nigga in the picture that was floating around, I guess this was him. It didn't even really look like this nigga. And as this nigga is gonna explain, he falsified the entire thing. Let's get into it.
Back to address the Bossman situation. Bossman D-Lo never messaged me. It was AI. It was edited. It was
Bruh.
I did everything good with the video of him texting me because my homegirl. It was my homegirl's fault.
Bruh.
He messaged a real
Blame
female.
your homegirl.
She's a popular influencer that I hang out with. So I made it seem like he messaged me, but he never really messaged me. And I made a fake thread of me texting myself back. I know it sounds crazy, and I just did all this stuff on the internet for attention, but a bitch was bored. And I thought it was funny, but now I know it's not funny because I'm really fucking with this man's career and his money. I'm sorry, you guys.
Now you know it's not funny because you got your clout and you making a video that probably got hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views. I mean, you got 448,000 views on this video alone. So we're talking millions of views. You got your clout, so now you want to apologize. This is why I say, like, you know what I'm saying? Certain shit, when it comes down to me, you might be like, well, damn, why isn't he covering this shit? Why isn't he talking about this shit? It's because of reasons like this. It's because motherfuckers be sitting here waking up, just feel like they're going to make up some shit like this. And this is your life. This is your life niggas is playing with. You know what I'm saying? This is your career, your reputation niggas is playing with just off a whim. You know what I'm saying? Just like I said, just like he said, because the nigga was bored. He felt like he was bored, so he was gonna fuck with your money and yo shit today. And the thing is, There's gonna be people who still keep the shit going. There's gonna be people who still sit here and act like this whole shit didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm not even covering it. But apparently he was lying, and this is why I say you gotta really watch these motherfuckers who just get on the internet and start saying anything. They just start saying whatever. Okay. I think we also have we also had a little, not to jump back to Drake, but I forgot I put this, shout out members, but I put this little clip. I'm not gonna lie, I'm ready for this one. I'm ready for this one. This shit sounds crazy, but this is some unreleased Drake. Yeah, I hope Drake comes talking his shit. Oh my god. Like, stop playing with this nigga. Like, come on. He about to drop some fire. Like, he's about to drop some fire. Niggas can't do this. Niggas can't do that. Like, they can't. I'm sorry. Like, niggas is just not do it. They can't replicate it. You can't stop the nigga. You're not about to squash nothing. Like, you can't step on nothing that he's getting to, okay? All right. So, let's get into the Diddy shit. All right. Let's get into the Diddy shit because, you know what I'm saying, we got dinner on standby. Dinner loading up, and I got to bust something down. So let's get into the Diddy stuff. Now, of course, we had Capricorn Clark come in. Now I got it kind of mixed up because I low key thought Capricorn Clark was a nigga. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, but but the Capricorn Clark came through and delivered, you know, a bombshell. Some people were even saying that they felt her testimony was even juicier than Cassie's. Pause. But you know, that's how niggas was giving it up. That's how niggas felt. So a Capricorn Clark is a long time employee of Diddy. Worked as, you know, as we went over yesterday, worked as several things, several different positions in his empire. And you know, she sat by and witnessed a lot. A lot was done to her, and just as a recap from her testimony, we talked about her, you know, basically when she, on day one of her job, when, you know, Diddy found out that she had a relationship with Suge Knight, and not a romantic relationship, but a relationship to the point of, you know, her best friend, you know, had kids by Suge Knight. So, so she had relationships in that way. But on her first day on the job, Diddy takes her to Central Park, walks her through at night with security, and says, "Bitch, if I see anything, or if anything goes down with Suge Knight, and, you know, I find out that you got something to do with it, bitch, I'll kill you." He said it just like that. "Bitch, I'll kill you." You know what I'm saying? You feel me? On some real, not matter of fact, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna hold you. They said they said Diddy had the little cigar. You know? Said Diddy had the cigar in his hand, like, bitch, you know what I'm saying? If I find out some shit going down, bitch, I'll kill you. Yeah, I'm saying I kill your stupid ass. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's how Diddy was on some next mafioso shit, on some real shit. And it seems like this is why they are. This is why they're going at him with the charges that they're going at him with. You know what I'm saying? Because he was moving on some real mafioso shit. So to continue, she also talked about, you know, a big thing that came out of that was the Kid Cudi incident. So Diddy came to her apartment with a loaded gun, bugging out because he was just basically like, bitch, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me that this bitch was out here cheating with this nigga? She's over here, she's doing this, that, the third. Why didn't you tell me? You know what I'm saying? He came to her apartment, snatched her up, long story short. Well, he didn't snatch her up. Let's be accurate. But he basically told her, bitch, you coming. You coming. You don't got no choice. Let's go. Put your clothes on. We going to get Cassie. And we going to this nigga's crib. So she was there, witnessed Diddy breaking into Kid Cudi's crib. I believe I don't think we got into her talking about the car exactly being lit on fire, but she seen you know, Kid Cudi's crib being broken into, and even after the incident, she talked about. I guess we did get to it. She seen the burning of his. I don't know if she detailed how it happened or if she said she didn't remember. I gotta get those details again, but she seen the aftermath of that incident as well and was able to give details. Speaking to the aftermath of that incident, which basically was just like, you know, Diddy basically beat the shit out of her and basically told her to hoof it, like, get the fuck out of here, like hoof it on foot, and she had to hoof it on foot while Diddy beat the fuck out of her on the side of the street somewhere, and she basically had to call, you know, Cassie's mother to tell her, hey, like he's kicking the shit out of her, like he's beating the shit out of your daughter, like you need to call the cops. So, you know, a lot going on with her testimony that she just ended up taking up the bulk of day 10 and going into, I'm guessing today, day 11. Okay. So we're going to be picking up with her testimony because we were leaving off with them asking about, you know, what happened with the job with Chris Lightly. And she was saying she that he died the day before she was supposed to start that. So they were talking and getting into why she wasn't getting other work. You know what I'm saying? Why she didn't just go and work somewhere else, and why up until just last year she was trying to still get a job with Diddy. Up until just last year, you were still trying to work for this man. So they're trying to poke their holes in her story where we left off with their questioning, okay, and them asking questions, and it gets back to the prosecution with them coming back and asking about her work. So they asked what happened with the job with Chris Lightly. She said he died a day before I was supposed to start that. Then Interscope. It wasn't about a job. They told me to leave Puff alone. They said I object. The judge said sustain. She says I was blacklisted. They said objection. The judge said sustain. They said, why did you return to work for Mr. Combs? She said so people could see I wasn't disposable. At this level of the business, he held all the power. They asked, why did you meet him? Why did you meet them? He said to get my life back. So, in talking to, you know, who I was talking to, who's on the ground, and you know, she basically was just saying, and from to elaborate a little bit on this, she basically was just saying in court, like, you know, like look, I couldn't make money outside of Diddy. I didn't have work outside of Diddy. Like I was shit assed out of luck. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there was not any work in the industry continuing to do what I have been doing all these years, you know, unless I worked for him, basically. So, you know, it's basically showing how much power Diddy had, and this is what the prosecution is doing right here. Just showing how much power Diddy had, you know, to really just shut your entire life down. The bitch was, she was over here like, you look, I got an autistic son. I don't know if she says it here, but she if they elaborate on that in here, but she's like, I got an autistic son. I got bills to pay. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a mother or father, which she kind of begins this, which they, you know, inner city press kind of leaves that out to just get to the important parts of it. But she was like, look, I don't got a mother and father. I don't have this. I don't have that. So, you know, it was like, I don't have anybody to lean on. I didn't have anybody. So I had to be the best at my job and be the best working for him with no qualms. And in her situation and in her testimony, it is way more understandable, you know, she kind of, you know, she in particular stays silent. And, you know, because she kind of outlined and really went into how she didn't have a career without working for Bad Boy, without working for Mr. Combs, or without working for Sean John Women. You know what I'm saying? So she really had it tough. Let me get my charger from my phone. Grab over and try to get this shit. Goddamn phone done died. So she really, you know, she really didn't have a career outside of Sean Combs. That was her bread and butter. That was how she ate, was through Diddy. And Diddy made sure of that. So she said, to get my life back. So they asked, in the kidnapping, did Mr. Combs carry a gun? She said, yes. They said, the judge said, jurors, I know we kept you longer than I said. Thank you. See you tomorrow. And they dismiss it for the day after that. Okay. So they dismissed them where we left off, and they kind of adjourned. So we kind of completed most of day 10, but as a little recap, that was day 10. We had Capricorn Clark come in and just basically shut shit down. Okay. So getting into today, let's just pick up in there. So day 11. Okay. This begins, we have, with the LAPD, FDLA, victim Mia and Nash to testify. Okay. So the judge says, before the jury is brought in, let's address this. All the government is saying is that the message shows Miss Ventura's state of mind. Said that's the Mr. Combs' defense. They say that's the problem with not being able to recall Miss Ventura as a witness. So they're talking about Cassie. Mind you, also, Cassie just had her baby today. Cassie just had her baby today. Okay, so is this a blessing in disguise? I don't know, because maybe she might have a couple of weeks off, but I don't know. You know, when you have a baby, you need a lot of time off. So, and you have months off. So who's to say that she can sit on stand for hours again, anytime soon? So it might be donezo, but I don't know. Who knows? You know, depending on, I'm not the expert on that, on babies or anything. So they said that's the problem with not being able to call Miss Ventura as a witness. So the prosecution comes back and they says all Mr. Nash will quote it. He says, so they're talking about bringing in Mr. Nash and stuff like that. They says he's making me freak off on my birthday. She didn't want to go. And Alexandra, she comes back and says, my spouse might say he's making me go to a Rangers game. I'd rather not. They said you could have cross-examined Miss Ventura about this. So this is what the judge was saying. He says, every day now I'm getting these letters. These issues should have been raised pre-trial in motions in line. So, and this is filed to get these letters into the docket, and now they're going in. And so these letters are, let's see what they say. They say Dear Judge, Submarinian or Samaritan, a Samanian, whatever his name is, says, Inner City Press has been covering the above captioned case like many others since this incident. This morning, before the jury came in, both the government and the defense referred to multiple communications to the court about evidentiary and other issues, but these are not in the public docket or PACER. This application letter motion argues that many, if not all of these, are judicial documents which the public and press have the right of access. They should be put in the docket now and going forward in this trial. So basically, they're just trying to press to get the things, because you're gonna see me reading, and you, if you've been tuning in this entire time, you've probably heard me say a few times or get to a point in the case where something is presented that we can't exactly see, and it's only presented to the witness on stand and the jury, and we can't exactly see what they are looking at or reacting to or answering questions about. You know what I'm saying? So this is basically him pressing to get these things, available to the public so that we can also see and review these things. Okay, so that's basically what that's about. So let's get into today. The judge basically says, let's bring in our jury, all rise. He says the jurors enter. And the government calls in LAPD officer Christopher Ignacio. Okay, Christopher Ignacio. Real quick, let me just get to this, because I got to do one little thing before we get into our day today and start getting into the reading. Let me just do this real quick. Okay, let me play this real quick.
They're at this hospital, and look, as
call
we're speaking now, we know she's at the hospital. By the time you see this, maybe she's already had the baby. We don't know what the status is. It is also possible that she goes into labor but doesn't have the baby today. We don't know,
Or she may,
what's going to happen.
it's also very possible she's actually in labor because she's in the labor unit there.
Right.
So obviously that was something that you saw coming. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were concerned that it might happen while she was testifying. You remember the judge made a point with the defense saying, you have to finish on this Friday because we are not bringing her back next week.
Right.
And what's interesting here is we were told by her attorney a few weeks ago that she probably wouldn't go into labor until the end of the month. It is obviously the 27th. But from the source that we're speaking to right now that is familiar with her being in the hospital, they're basically saying they're in this decision moment right now where it's like, is she going to give the baby today, or could it be another week? Do they wait another week? So it sounds like she's having contractions right now.
Right. So again, not unexpected. We're not sure the nature of whatever this complication is, but obviously wish her well. Let's get into the trial, because I got to tell you, for most of last week, I'd been kind of beating this drum that these racketeering charges seem forced to me, that this felt like a jealous, crazed, even criminal boyfriend, but it didn't feel like racketeering. This has changed in a big way.
Because Capricorn Clark, former assistant to Diddy, actually she had a different title than assistant, but she was managing a lot of artists, including Cassie. She testified this morning, and absolute bombshells about the things that she claims that Diddy said to her, that others in the organization said to her, what she went through as an employee there, and particularly because she was an employee who used to work at Death Row Records.
Which is a big deal. Remember, Death Row run by Suge Knight. We talked about this confrontation last week where there was testimony by Diddy's assistant that when Diddy found out that Suge Knight had been at Mel's Diner on the Sunset Strip, Diddy loaded up his car with 3 guns, his assistant and security, and went to confront Suge. Suge told us then he thought if he was still at Mel's, that gun would have been used.
Well, Capricorn says that she herself was threatened once by Diddy. She said that when Diddy found out that she used to work at Death Row, he said, well, if things don't work out, I might have to kill you.
Yeah, look, her testimony has been explosive. Capricorn used to work for Suge. She says she was in Central Park with Diddy. It sounded like sort of a job interview sort of scenario where he said to her, well, we'll have to see what happens. I may have to kill you, which some people would receive as maybe a joke, knowing that they had a rivalry. She says she took it very seriously. And more so, she says that we're
work with her. I don't understand. I work with this guy. This makes no sense.
Look, her credibility is going to be right on Front Street. You're going to have to decide whether you believe what she's saying, because she also says during her time with Diddy, she was accused of stealing jewelry. She was taken in for polygraph tests in dilapidated buildings.
Fired, but Diddy fired her. So she's got an axe to grind too, possibly. You know.
Yeah, no. This is.
I'm sure they'll bring that up on Cross. Yeah.
Well, you know what?
But hold on, there was. We got to get one other part of her testimony, because she brought up the Kid Cudi incident, yes, where Diddy went after him. Last week, we heard testimony that Diddy went to his apartment when he found out that Cassie was dating Kid Cudi.
Beelined it inside, burglarized it, went for a Chanel gift. This was during Christmas, that presumably that he was going to give Cassie.
Right, and then allegedly.
All right, let's pause that. Okay, I just had to take a call real quick, but let's get into today. So they're bringing a witness. Okay, so they calling in the government. The government calls in LAPD officer Christopher Ignacio. Okay, so he's the next witness who takes the stand. So they asked about what's this radio call? He said someone calls 911, it gets sent to the next available LAPD unit on duty. They asked on December 22nd, 2011, what was your shift? He says 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. in a marked police vehicle. What do you remember? He said, I got a call around 8 a.m., code 3 with lights and sirens to 8925 Hollywood Hills Road. I guess that's the location. What did you find there? He said, an Escalade. He said, I memorized the license. He said, I memorized the license plate. They asked why. He said, I thought it could be involved in a crime, the way it was left as soon as we got there. Why didn't you go after it? He says, we didn't have a crime yet. The front door was unlocked. We went in. What did you see? He said, high-end watches and purses, some wrapped, some unwrapped. 2 detectives showed up, and then we came out and saw the same black Escalade now driving down the hill. Okay? So these guys at some point, they were called in to, this is the guy who was called in or was kind of investigating as where I left off. So remember, like I said, after the whole incident with Cudi, Capricorn Clark leaves on foot. Diddy is there. Last thing she sees, Diddy is there kicking her. Ruben is sitting there not doing anything. Diddy is sitting there kicking her. And she said he was kicking her until she went around the block. He didn't stop. Okay? She said he was kicking her until he she went around the block. So she doesn't know when it ended. So this police officer picks up a little bit after that, okay? So they said he's seen, and he describes what he's seen when they went into Kid Cudi's house, because that's what they were called to actually investigate. So he didn't call about the Escalade or anything like that. And he memorized. He said he memorized the plates because he thought, it might be, a point of interest. It might be a subject of interest. So he gets called to Cudi's house. They ask, "What did you see?" Watches, things like that. He says, "I saw the same black Escalade now driving down the hill." They said, "Then what?" He said, "Mr. Muscuddy arrived in a Porsche." They said, "You ran the plate of the Escalade?" He said, "Yes, it came back as Bad Boy Records." They said, "No further questions." That was all they needed. They said, "Cross-examination, Mr. Steele." Brian Steele comes up. He said, "This was 13 years ago, right?" He says, "Yes." They said, "You read your partner's report?" He said, "Yes." "The streets there are dead ends," he said, "according to the map." "It's a beautiful neighborhood, right? Cul-de-sac?" He said, "Sure." They said he asked, "You don't follow the car as it drives away, right?" He says, "Right." He said, "Did you see a Porsche?" He says, "I don't know." He says, "Do you know the definition of a kidnapping?" They said, "Objection." He said, "Sustained." He says, "Were you told the homeowner was in the house shortly before you and your partner got there?" They said, "Objection." Overruled. He says, "The door was unlocked?" He said, "Yes." "There was no furniture upended, right?" He said, "No." "You called it a trespass, not a burglary, right?" Because, and then they said, "Objection" again. The judge says, "I think sustained." He said, "No report of theft?" He said, "No." He said, "If you thought there was a gun in the Escalade, you could have put out a bolo, right?" They said, "Objection" again. They said, "Overruled." "You didn't, right?" He said, "Right." "Any mention of security cameras?" He said, "I saw some." He said, "Mr. Muscuddy wasn't hyperventilating, right?" He said, "He was tense, I'd say." "Did you search his Porsche?" He said, "No." "It was 8:20 a.m., not 6:30 a.m., right?" He said, "Right." They said nothing further. They said no redirect. Then the government calls in LA arson investigator Lance Jimenez. Okay, so they call in somebody who's a arson investigator, usually works with the fire department, etc. So he takes the stand. They said, "How many fires have you investigated?" It said 100 a year. Everything between mansions to dumpster fires. LA is pretty crazy. "How did you respond as an expert to an auto fire at 8925 Hollywood Hills Road?" He said, "Yes, there was a cut in the roof of the Porsche." "What about the inside of the Porsche?" "Burn patterns inside," he says. "Any items?" He says, "A bottle on the front seat." He continues, "A handkerchief burned, a lighter on the ground." They said, what hypothesis did you draw?" He says, "Molotov cocktail." "How did you think it got in?" He says, "Someone lit it, cut the roof, and dropped it in." "Let me show you some photos. This is the black Porsche that was burned?" He says, "Yes." "What kind of bottle was used?" "Old English 800 malt liquor." "And the wick?" He says, "A designer type scarf, silky, in my opinion. It was targeted." "The partial DNA profile, was it consistent with a female contributor?" He says, "I was told that." "Do you know what it means?" He says, "No." "Do you know if it's possible to touch an item without leaving DNA?" They said, "Objection." It was sustained. They asked, "What happened to the print cards?" He says, "They were destroyed in 2012. They says, "On whose order?" "Someone in LAPD, he says. "Not you or anyone on the team?" He says, "I'm going to object to all of this. Can we have a sidebar?" That was the defense. And then they say, okay, the sidebar happens. After a long sidebar, he says, "Jurors, we're trying to sync up. Why don't we take a break?" So then they take a actual break. It says Combs exited too with marshals into a holding cell. And then they said, let me get him. He says Combs is brought back in. The judge says, Mr. Slavic, what was the purpose of getting into that? And he says, they are questioning the investigation, so we're entitled to ask this. The judge says, when I heard the question, I assumed there was going to be a line of cross-examination about the fingerprint cards, like about the DNA. But that does not appear to be the case, so I'm thinking of telling the jurors to disregard. He said, then Diddy's team says this is outrageous. He says, we're considering what remedies to ask for. Let me speak with my colleague. They implied that someone in the court in this courtroom is responsible for the destruction of the fingerprint cards. The prosecution comes back and says they intend to attack the investigation. So then they just take a whole recess. Then they come back. Okay. The judge says my intent is to strike from the record any testimony about the fingerprint cards and the destruction of them. I would note that the only answers were what the witness knew about the destruction. I sustained the objection to if it was abnormal. He says we're going to move. Alexandra Shapiro says we're going to move for a mistrial at this time. So they moved for a mistrial today. He says we're going to move for a mistrial at this time based on the prosecutorial misconduct that has occurred. Some prospective jurors said Mr. Combs could buy his way out. This type of conspiracy is out there and is bought into. He said they should have ended. They should have ended with the fingerprint cards were destroyed, but they asked, did he authorize it? There's no way to unring this bell. The only proper remedy here is a mistrial. The prosecution, of course, comes back and says that's absolutely unwarranted. He says it was Mr. Agniflio who wanted to inquire into the DNA, into the investigation. Your Honor, can I just say that the jurors should not draw any inference from the destruction of the fingerprint cards. The judge says the application for a mistrial is denied. Okay, so he denied the application for a mistrial. The judge says I sustain the objection when raised. The jurors have already been told that questions are not evidence. Okay, so they says, Your Honor, this is Shapiro coming back. He says, Your Honor should tell the juror that the questions were improper. He says they weren't improper. This is the prosecution. They said they weren't improper. You could say disregard both. They said will the court tell the jurors that the answers are not to be considered? Hold on, I need a drink. He says, will the court tell the jurors that the answers are not to be considered? He says, I'll tell them that the questions and answers on the fingerprints are irrelevant to this case and are not to be considered. And they say, thank you. So I guess they said, I'll take that. Okay. So, again, the jurors enter, and then the judge say, jurors, the questions and answers on the fingerprints are irrelevant to this case and are not to be considered by you. Please proceed. Okay, so the prosecution comes back and they continue with Miss Jimenez. They continue with Miss Jimenez. They said, Scott Muscuddy. They said, did you interview the owner of the Porsche? He said, Scott Muscuddy. They said, did you reach out to others? He said, I reached out to an assistant. Her name was Capricorn. They says, I'm going to, the defense says, I'm going to object. And then they say, rephrase. They said, who did you reach out to? He said, Capricorn and Cassie Ventura. They said, did Capricorn respond to or assist? She said, no. They said, how did you reach out to Cassie? He answered, wasn't able by phone. Tried through a family member. They said, did you reach her? Jimenez says, never got contact. Okay. It said, what charges were brought? He says, no, but I'm guessing they asked, were charges brought? What he meant to say. And he says, no, but I never closed the case. It's still listed as inactive. They said nothing further. Cross-examination comes in. This is the Diddy's defense. He says, there was a DNA hit on the glass bottle for female DNA, correct? He says, yes. Do you remember these results when the results came back? He said, maybe 6 months. He says, the test on the bottle, was it important? He says, yes. What does it mean? Partial DNA, female? He says, I have no idea. I was told if we had a suspect, we could test against it. And they said, any other DNA on the bottle? They said, objection. He said, the prosecution comes for an objection. Give me 1 second. Okay. So they said, that's a glove, right? He says, yes. It said, did you find another glove? He said, no. Did you test the other glove for DNA? He says, no. I understood it belonged to the owner. It was a driving glove. Your premises was that the Molotov cocktail was dropped. Did you think the person who dropped it would have worn a glove? He said, perhaps. It would have been hot. He says, only the wick. The damage, it's on both sides of the bottle, right? He says, it looks like it. Did Mr. Muscuddy have more than one Porsche? He said, I think he had a second one in the garage. Why isn't it in your report? He said, it was not involved. You were unable to reach Capricorn Clark or Cassie Ventura. When did you reach out? He said, in the first few weeks. Are you sure? Tell us everything about these calls. He says, I believe Capricorn's brother answered, and we disagreed. And they come back and ask, and once Mr. Muscuddy told you it was his glove, you didn't investigate the glove anymore, correct? He says, I did not. They said nothing further. The redirect comes and they said, this is the prosecution once again. It says, when did you speak to Mr. Muscuddy? He said the same day. They say nothing further. They bring in the next witness, and then the government calls in Deontay Nash, okay? And they ask, why are you here? He says, under subpoena. They said, do you want to be here? He says, absolutely not. It says, what is your work? He or she, hold on, let me see if this is a woman or a girl. Because y'all be killing me with these names. Yeah, it is a man, okay? A little zesty, probably. A little zesty, most likely, yeah. Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. So this is apparently Deontay Nash. This is who is currently taking the stand, and this was Cassie's stylist, okay? So he says he was the acts in 2008. He says for Puff and Cassie, yes. How'd you get hired to work for them? He says through a Craigslist ad for Bad Boy Entertainment. Goddamn, it's that easy. They asked this photo, is it a fair and accurate portrayal of how you looked at the time? He says not even close. It's a glamour photo. He says yes, I look amazing. Okay, relax. How often did you witness Mr. Combs and Miss Ventura interact? He said at least once a week. What did Mr. Combs call Miss Ventura? He said bitch, hoe, CC, baby girl, slut. He would call it an outright hoe, a slut. He would call an outright hoe a slut anyway. I don't know what he meant by that. They asked, how did she react? He said sad. Did Mr. Combs make threats? He said yes, he said yes, that he would beat her ass, that he'd send her sex tapes out. How often would he say he would beat her ass? He said quite a few. It drove her crazy. She would be super emotional. She might stay in the house for days. How often did Mr. Combs say you could not go out with without his permission? So apparently they're asking him, did Mr. Combs, have you on lock too? Like, how many times did he tell you couldn't go out, nigga? He said at least once a week. Oh no. He says twice. The first time we went to a gay club with Kyle and Adrian. Then we went to her LA apartment. Puff called and told her she better bring her ass to his house. She panicked. What did you understand Mr. Combs was saying? He said, they say objection, it was overruled. He said she packed her stuff and went to her house, or went to his house, I think he meant to say. Did you attend the Vanity Fair party? He said yes. Oscars after party in 2014 with Cassie. Puff was there. How did she look? He said she looked bomb. Her hair was, and then they say objection, it was overruled. He says her hair was long. Puff picked me up and threatened me. I pinned her hair up. I don't know what they meant here. They said she recorded music. Did she record music? I guess he meant to say, did she record music? She said often. Said, what was your role? He said, I helped pick songs. Thank you. He said, I helped pick songs. I probably should have been called to an exec, and then they say objection again, and then they say sustain. They say her mixtape, was it ever sold? He said no. It was put out for free, but it did well, a top download. They asked how much of her music was released. Shout out baby mom. Shout out baby mom. Yeah, I mean, ZD on that, little something light, little garlic. You know what I mean? We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Hold on. You gotta get one little bite while it's fresh. You know what I mean? You gotta get one little bite while it's fresh. Oh my God. Bless those hands. All right, so they said, how much of her music was released? He says, I'm being generous to say about 10%. 10% of her music. 10% of the music that Cassie recorded was actually released. That's crazy. Imagine only 10% of the music that you recorded, and you're one of the elites in the industry. You're probably in the studio every week. I mean, for only 10% of your music to be released, that's crazy. They asked, this would be a good time to break. They said break, and they go for a break. They come back. We want to show you, Mr. Nash, a photo of this afternoon. Witness Mia, without the screen in gallery showing the photograph. The judge says, bring back in Mr. Nash, and then the jury. Okay, so they come back in. They ask, how many times in person have you witnessed Mr. Combs be violent? He says quite a few. This is a sealed exhibit. Without saying her name, do you recognize this person we'll call Mia? He says yes. What were you and Mia helping Cassie pack for? He said OVO Fest in Canada. Okay, so this is the guy who was involved with Cassie, getting fucked up for, kind of fucking with Drake and trying to go to OVO Fest. Let's see if he can give some more insight there. Who came to the door? He said Puff. He said, "Bitch, didn't I tell you to answer your phone?" Then he dragged her by her hair and hit her. How hard was he hitting her? They say objection. It was overruled. He said very hard. We ran to the bathroom, but Puff pushed it open. He continued to attack Cassie with his fist. They said, "What did you do? Try to help Cassie?" He said, "I jumped on Puff's back. He threw me off. Mia too." He said, Cassie's head hit the bed frame, and then she was bleeding. So that was the gash that we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago. Was it a week? I don't even know at this point. But that was the gash we were talking about earlier in the trial, that Cassie had to hide with a swoop, okay? Because she had that big gash. And then she was trying to hide when she popped out and when she was recording, okay? They said, "Where was Mia?" He said, "Getting towels." What did Mr. Combs say to you, Mia and Cassie? What did Mr. Combs say to you, Mia and Cassie? He said, "Look at what y'all made me do." He said she'd go to a plastic. He said she'd go to a plastic surgeon. With who? He said D-Rock. He was Puffy's security. After that, when did you see her? He said the next day, FaceTime or something like that. She had a gash on her eyebrow. God damn. So he played the "look what you made me do" card. Look at that. That's crazy. He blamed these motherfuckers for whooping her ass like that. That's tough. That's crazy. He said D-Rock was Puffy's. They said with who? D-Rock. He was Puffy's security. After that, did you see anyone? He said the next day, FaceTime or something like that. She had a gash on her eyebrow. Were you once cooking with Cassie when Mr. Combs got violent? He said yes. Puff came. What did Mr. Combs say? He said, "Y'all better get out." He said, "Y'all better get out of my house." He was grabbing her by her hair. He pushed her out of the room and began to do the same to me. But I don't have hair. He popped me. He told me to go. Nigga said he popped me like a kid, like you some 2 months old baby, like you a little ass child. They gotta elaborate. I hope they ask him to elaborate on that. He told me to go downstairs and wait. He was treating these niggas like children. Hold on, I gotta go to the comments to this one in particular. Wait. Oh my God. I want to go to the comments of it so bad, but I'm like, wait. What do you mean he popped you? What is that? What are you talking about? He said they came down and Puff was berating us as we drove off. We got a phone call. They say objection. The judge says new question. They said call from who? He said Puff. He told us to stop and he came to the window. He said he put her sex tapes on the internet. Okay. Puff said he'd send her sex tape to her parents' jobs and get them fired, and that her brother was a bitch, and that only he would protect her. What did you tell her? That Puff is on the sex tapes too. She said he's not. He was taping her with the other men. What did she say about wanting or not wanting to have sex with other men? They said objection was overruled. He answered that she didn't want to. I drove her to Sunset Boulevard to get a taxi. They said why? Uber wasn't really a thing yet. Puff came to my house looking for her. He looked into my oven. The oven? God damn, this nigga is obsessed. The nigga is looking in ovens, nigga. Not sure why. That's what this is his words, not mine. Puff took my phone and Cassie called from a hotel. Puff said, let's go there. Bad Boy staff stayed there. What did Mr. Combs say? He said, go get her. I went to Cassie's room, hotel room, with D-Rock and Tony. She jumped up. She was frightened. She said she would jump off the balcony. They asked how high was it? He said it was on the first floor. Downstairs, I saw 4 or 5 of Puff security waiting. Puff told me, you played me. I drove off, but Puff security followed me. I turned off my lights and drove really fast and went into the Universal Sheraton. They said, did you go home the next day? He said, yes. I found my backpack was stolen. It had $10,000. No, he said it had $1,000 in it. They asked, why did you keep $1,000 cash? So when Puff was mad, I could check into a hotel without giving my name. So homie kept $1,000 in his bag as a contingency, just in case Puff lost his cool and he needed to stay in the hotel without using his name. I'm not gonna lie. And you know who I was talking to yesterday, they, in their opinion, they was like, you know, it was not a good day for the defense. These guys were flustered. They were not expecting Capricorn's, you know, testimony to be so hard hitting. They weren't expecting it. And so with this guy, I don't think he's helping them out and doing any better. Because as you see, I mean, he kept $1,000 on him at all times, just in case Puffy would go off the deep end. And that really plays into how scared these people really were. Okay? Like, these people were terrified, or they're painting the picture that they were terrified. They said, what happened in 2015? He said, I saw Puff slap Cassie. He said, I saw Puff slap Cassie. In her face. No, slap Cassie in the face. He said, get this bitch out of here. He says, what did you do? He said, I got her out. They said, the perfect match premiere. What did you see? He said, Cassie had a black eye. It says, when was Mr. Combs violent with you at a music video? He says, yes, I was outside smoking a cigarette. Puff came and threw me on the car and started choking me out. Puff said, y'all keep going out. They said, did you report anything to the police? He says, no, I was afraid of retaliation from Puff. Did you get anyone on staff? He said, Christina Karam, KK. They asked, what did she say? He said that she would talk to him. Did anything change? He said, no. How often did you help Cassie hide? He said, often. What did Mr. Combs do? He would blow our phones up. KK would too. She would say Puff was calm. Cassie would go back. Did Cassie tell you she was going to a hotel with Mr. Combs? He said, yes, weekly. She would pack sex toys. Did she say she wanted to go? They said, objection, it was overruled. She said she didn't want to, or she didn't want to go. Her 29th birthday, then they come back and ask, her 29th birthday, tell me. And remember, this is the part that they wanted to strike out because the defense felt like this line of questioning is, you know, not really good because they can't call Cassie back. Okay. He said, Puff asked me, should he surprise her on her birthday? They said, what did you say? He says, girl, I'm not about to tell him not to surprise. He said, girl, I was not about to tell him not to surprise her. Oh, he was on that gay shit. Did she use the word freak offs with you? He says, no. He says, not like freak off, more like freak off. They said, like a verb? He said, yes. Where did you go after the blind dragon? He says, 875 Cornstalk, like 17A. Puff said, y'all gonna get some dick tonight. What did Miss Ventura say? That she didn't want to go, but he made her. They left the house. He was super high. New Year's Eve, where were you? With Cassie, he says, and the staff, all on the same floor of the hotel. Puff's room was at the end of the hall. So what did Mr. Combs tell you? Said that Cassie had been asleep for 24 hours. I had to take her up. He said, I guess he meant I had to wake her up. He said, did she wake up? He said, she woke up for me. What did Mr. Combs say? She spent all his money, so she had to. So she had to. Then there was a low budget producer. He laughs. It said, how many of your meetings with prosecutors did you end early? He says, probably all of them. It said, did you stay in touch with Mr. Combs? He says, yes. What was your tone? He says, loving. They said, why? He says, I don't hate him. It's not in me. They said no further questions. They take a break. And then they come back. And they said they were going until 4. He says, we might stay until 4, Mr. Donaldson. So they stayed until 4 today. Let's get into where they bring him back. Okay. They said, how are you? This is the defense now for cross-examination. He said, blessed. He's feeling a little bit too good on the stand. It says, when he met with the government, you had an attorney present, right? He said, yes. The subpoena didn't mean you had to go to their office. He said, right. You hired a civil lawyer, Mr. Dunn, to represent you considering litigation against Mr. Combs. He said, no. Does this document show that? He says, it's their assumption, but no. I have counsel to protect me. I don't do federal court. On March 10th, 2025, did you not tell Mr. Comey that you are considering a civil complaint against Mr. Combs? He said, no. DX 1800, what is this? He said, Cassie in the video for the mixtape. He says, in 1801, he said, Cassie and Usher. This is 2016, a Bad Boy reunion show. Did you pick out that dress? He says, I don't remember. You didn't start as a celebrity stylist. It was Mr. Combs who introduced you to Cassie, right? He says, I met her, Miss Fine. So it's Mr. Combs. So it's Mr. Combs who made you a celebrity stylist. Sure, go ahead. He says, I am going ahead. As a celebrity stylist, you pick clothes. He says, like for Miss Fine's wedding? He says, yes. He says, do you know Groovy Lou? He says, yes. As head of Bad Boy, it was Mr. Combs' interest that his artist Cassie looked good, right? He said, I suppose. And Bad Boy paid for Cassie's studio time, right? He said, yes. You can't go to the studio under Mr. Combs. Under Mr. Combs pays. What is a Young and Reckless? He said, a streetwear clothing brand. Cassie owned a part of it. Mr. Combs had nothing to do with it. He had to approve everything, he says. Wasn't Brian Bagola involved? He says, yes, as a stylist. Who else were you styling for in 2016? He said, Puff, Mace, and Lil' Kim. Major artists and on mixtapes, you were executive produced but got no credit. Meek Mill was on the mixtape. He said, yes. Pusha T, he said, yes. Can I take a break? He asked. He said, yes. The jury leaves. They take a break. They come back. They say, nice coat. He says, thank you. What size? He says, not your size. They said, right answer. Mr. Combs was the final decision making. He says, no. Some of them look terrible. He says, you are friends with Miss Fine. He said, yes. When's the last time you spoke to Banna? He said, yesterday. They said, not about the testimony, right? He says, right. She saw it on the news. He said, when do you speak to Cassie? Excuse me. He said, yesterday, I congratulated her on having the baby. He said, you saw her take drugs? He says cocaine, ecstasy, MDMA. Mushrooms and acid? I'm not like privy to that, he says. Not to get you into your business. You have used cocaine. He says, yes. You smoked pot before the meeting prosecutors? He says, yes. And Maureen cut it short. You told her you were high. He says that I was smoking. Making a video costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. He says not necessarily. Who was Mia? He says. They ask. He says Puff's assistant. You and Mia jumped on Mr. Combs to protect Cassie from him, right? He says, and to protect him from doing something worse. And D-Rock tried to protect you, not protect Mr. Combs? He says, yes. He says, the judge says we're at 4 p.m. and I think that is where they adjourn for the day. So tomorrow, okay, guys, so tomorrow we should be seeing, it looks like they're going to have to finish up with him at that point, so, since they already cut it off. That's where they were ready to do that today. So tomorrow they'll pick up with Dante Nash, and we'll continue from there. We'll do a little bit of a recap. I'll give you guys a little bit more of a context after I talk to my peoples, hop on the phone a little bit. As you can see, I've already been getting some calls. So I have to, I had to kind of like, cause I can't talk, give up the source, give up people who don't want to talk. I've been beefing with one of my sources too, because, you know, everybody's not willing to just come forward and lose their position in relationships and things. Okay. So I'm not going to necessarily just put it out there. I wish I could, but as I talk to my people and get, more context of the things going on in and around the trial, and some of what these guys, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot for them to tell me with this guy in particular. It seems like there's a lot of context being left out, but the most important parts inner city press is including. So we'll get to that tomorrow as well, and come back and double back into some of the things that we were talking about here. Okay. So again, I would say overall, though, it was a day that played into the prosecution's favor. We have yet another person coming forward and saying, how they were, physically abused by Diddy, how violence was done against them, and how they all, feared for their life. I think one of the things that's going to stand out from this, if it's not already trending, is that, this guy in particular, he kept, $1,000 on him at any moment. He thought Diddy might go off the deep end. That's a big thing, and that's something that is going to really play into, how the jury processes all of these things when they look at person and case by case, and all of this collection of people who feared this man, and this collection of people who knew about the freak offs. It seems like they all were kind of subjected to this one side of Diddy that nobody knew about. So this was just like a circle of people who just kept this secret and kept this hidden for all of this time. Okay, so as I said, tomorrow we'll pick up from there. I appreciate you guys for stopping in with me again today. It's always a pleasure to see how many people are coming in and watching every day. It keeps you going. It keeps me going. We have a project dropping this Friday. We got music dropping Friday. Okay, so I want you guys to stay in tune for that. They trying to block my shine a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Had to get some record cleared last minute, but it worked out. It worked out pretty much. But I really want you guys to stay tuned for that. Again, as always, please, please, please check out the official playlist for the Doja Room. One is called Melodic Ice. The other is Diesel's Doja. Okay, 2 different flavors. All right, and we will be getting into that. I might actually even do a little listening party, a listening stream with you guys, and we'll just play the records. So everything. This is just a collection of songs from me and some of the guys. And I just want to put it out there because I want to represent. I want to put on for the city. Want to put on for the people. And since like I said, I've had a small spike in people listening to the music lately, or this month. I don't know what's been going on this month, but I appreciate the love wherever it's coming from. We're just getting a big spike on across all platforms of people listening to the music. So I figured I'll give something back to the fans who continue to listen to me day in, day out, year by year. Some of you guys have your favorite records, and I really appreciate that. And y'all bigging that up and pushing it up. I can't wait to see my wrap up at the end of the year. I think this might be my best one yet, or maybe my second best one. So we'll see. Okay. So again, appreciate you guys for stepping in. Okay. If you want to find again any of those links to anything, including where to find me at on multiple platforms. You already know I'm your boy Dope Boy Diesel. Okay, you can just look me up on just about anything. Okay, just about anything. X, on Instagram. If you want to listen to the music, at Dope Boy Diesel, you can see it right there, right here on the screen. Okay, at Dope Boy Diesel. Go ahead and tap in with me. You can find the playlist. You can find just about everything. The playlists are Spotify exclusive. Okay, they're Spotify exclusive. I might start trying to make some Apple playlists for you guys too. Okay, if guys see how to do it. But I don't really listen to my music on Apple, so that's why. But yeah, we'll be getting to that. I appreciate you guys for stopping through in the Doja Room. I love you guys for tuning in. I'm your boy Dope Boy Diesel. To all my stoners, hippies, and hip-hop enthusiasts, I hope you came in, rolled one, but now it's time to get the fuck out, okay? All right? Hope y'all have a good one. Be safe, and we'll be back in... I don't know what time we'll be back in tomorrow. I like this time, but look, we're off all day tomorrow, so we'll probably come in probably around... probably meet it in the middle of this time and our regular time, and we'll be back and do our trial, or do our day 12, okay? It'll be day 12 tomorrow, okay? So I'll see you guys then, and I'm out.
Yeah. Hey, this that special sauce. Spill that drip, I wipe it off. $1 million worth of game.